Some patrons of the Wyndham City Center downtown earlier this week had quite the wake-up call when a fire alarm blared out and kept them from getting a good night's sleep. As the reports are that we've got from the Springfield Fire Department, the call came out for the Wyndham City Center there on East Adams Street about 1 in the morning. And there was a small fire inside a storage room, and firefighters were able to get control of that and were mostly able to contain it, especially with the sprinkler system. So I want to hear from you. What is your fire alarm story? 217-629-7970, 217-629-7970. Were you there at the Wyndham City Center, downtown Springfield? Maybe you're in town because the legislature's got a lot of activity. I know it's a pretty busy hotel, especially when the legislature's in session. Great for the city of Springfield when it comes to hotel motel taxes. So it's good that the legislature's back in action. You've got a lot of advocates and even some lawmakers staying there, but they were either right as they were going to bed, weren't able to go to bed, or while they were sleeping, were woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning with that fire alarm. Have you ever experienced that? Did you experience that earlier this week, or have you had a similar experience? Most recently, Megan and I, we went up to the Chicago suburbs. I can't remember if this was for a comedy show we were going to or what exactly it was, but either way, we were staying at a hotel. And we're, having a good time, went to the comedy show, went back to the hotel, and went to sleep, woke up in the morning, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. We're still laying in bed, just getting comfortable and, enjoying a hotel. And then all of a sudden, this is a fire alarm. Please exit the building. I'll admit I was wearing virtually nothing. All right. So quickly had to put on some pants, put on a shirt. Megan got dressed and, it was just walking out like we literally just rolled out of bed and sat in the car for a moment. Fire truck came by and then the fire truck left. And it was a non-alarm alarm, apparently. But that was definitely a way to disrupt our morning. And we quickly just gathered our stuff and got out of there because we were done. But that was at 7 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't at 1 o'clock in the morning. I've got another story about a hotel stay that I had back when I was real young that was not a fire alarm, but actually a bomb threat. So we'll share that with you here on WMAY. But I want to hear from you. What kind of fire alarm stories do you have? And it doesn't have to be a hotel related. It could be a work related. It could be a school related. What kind of fire alarm story do you have? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Morning, buddy.
Hey.
So my sister came home from Florida, so of course we had to go out to dinner. So the little PJ's in Dawson was one of our favorite spots. Anyway, so we get there, and all of a sudden, one of the servers comes over and it's like, "You guys got to get out." It's like, "Wait, what? What the heck's going on?" She goes, "There's a fire in the upstairs apartment,
Oh, no.
and there's smoke coming from the dryer, so we need to get everybody out." So we get out, and apparently someone had done laundry, and there was a grease towel that had gotten in the dryer. And so, yeah, it got heated up and just started smoking. But yeah, no, everything was fine as soon as they figured out what was going on.
Right.
But yeah, so basically our entire supper was
ruined.
Postponed for about a half an hour.
Ruined.
Because of that, yeah. And so they refried everything and gave us half off.
Ah, nice. Well, at least they did that. At least they gave you a little bit of a discount for having to put up with that. 217-629-7970. I'll tell you, I don't think the hotel, at least Megan might be able to remind me, but I don't think the hotel we stayed at recently gave us any kind of discount for having our morning disrupted by a non-alarm fire alarm. But of course, with the Wyndham City Center having a real fire earlier this week, disrupting the sleep for some downtown Springfield, want to hear from you about your fire alarm stories. 217-629-7970 at 816. You're on WMAY.
Yes, this might be similar. This happened, I'm in my 70s, so this probably happened 60 years ago at least. we went to St. Louis and we did make reservations. My uncle said, "Oh, you won't have to." Well, then we had to stay at a motel right hooked on to the far station.
Huh.
So, I mean, it was right there, you know. So we was woke up several times during the night because the fire truck had to
Oh
go off.
my God.
Sirens going off and off, and all the red lights, you know.
Yeah.
And I was, well, let me tell you, whenever we went to St. Louis again, my dad made sure we had reservations
Well,
at a
and
place.
that the hotel wasn't right next door to the
I
fire
mean, we was,
department.
and as they say, it woke us, I think, 5 or 6 times that it went
Wow.
off.
Wow. I
And
tell
the
you,
fire trucks took off. I mean, you know, the alarm also goes off at the firehouse. You know, that big alarm.
Oh yeah, no
And
question.
when the fire trucks take off,
And they're
you have,
blaring their sirens.
and
Absolutely.
all the lights, all the sirens.
Absolutely. Of course. I mean, yeah. So, and that's one thing I never really enjoyed about staying, like, for instance, at a hotel in downtown Chicago, because all you hear all night is sirens. It's all you hear all night is sirens, either ambulance sirens or fire alarm sirens or police sirens. That's a funny story. I appreciate you sharing that. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. What's your fire alarm story? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
You know, I don't have a great story, but I will tell you. Have you seen the movie The Jerk
I don't
Steve
know.
Martin?
Tell me. Okay, it's been
With
a long
Steve
time.
Martin.
It's been a long time.
Okay, look up the fire scene in there. That's how he ended up naming his dog.
Okay,
It's the funniest thing you'll watch, and you'll play it later, I bet.
I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can find that. I appreciate it. 217-629-7970. Your fire alarm story. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, man, good topic. I tell you what, this has been, I'm going to show my age. It's been about 15 years ago. But I was in a hotel, and the alarm goes off in the evening there, and everybody's come running out, and this one lady comes running out of her room, and she's just soaking wet. And the long story short, what she had tried to do is, you remember them when they first started putting sprinkler systems in the room, they had that one little piece that stuck off to the side.
Oh, no.
She was working on her dress. She was trying to, like, steam it or something, but she had stuck the hanger up into that little sprayer, that little loop.
Right.
And when she did, she popped off the safety, and the sprinkler went off in her room, and her
That's
entire room was just soaked.
And she's the reason why every hotel room now has a little decal right by the sprinkler with a hanger icon and a slash through it.
Yes, and she did it, and her whole room was drenched.
Oh my!
It was
gosh.
hilarious.
That's
But we all had to leave.
Appreciate the call. That's a funny one. So the story that I have from when I was, gosh, I want to say 5th grade, going into 6th grade. It was when for some reason my mom wanted to move from the suburbs of St. Louis to a tiny town here in Illinois called Litchfield, and there were some properties she was interested in, so we stayed the night in a hotel to go see the property the next morning. And it was myself, my brother, who's 2.5 years older than me. All the other siblings were already out of the house, and my mom. And we stayed in a hotel in Litchfield. First night ever in that town. This probably should have been an omen. I could write a book. But the first night in this town, we're hanging out, we're asleep, when we're watching TV or whatever. I think MST3K was on, and I loved that show, so we're watching it and just relaxing. It's like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night or something. And then the phone rings, and none of our other family knew where we were. So we all looked at each other, all three of us, like, who knows where we're at? Does Belinda know where we're at? No. Does Brian know where? No. Nobody knows where we're at. Who's calling us? So I pick up the phone. Me being, 11, 12, 13 years old or something. Hello? Yeah, this is the front desk. There's been a bomb threat. Everybody needs to leave the building. What? I hang up the phone. I grab a few of my things. I start heading for the door. And I didn't tell my mom or my brother what they said. I just started getting ready to go. And sure enough, I told them, I said, hey, they just called, said there's a bomb threat. We waited in the car in the parking lot across the way for 4 hours while whatever investigation needed to happen, of course, there was no bomb found. It was just some, ridiculous, baseless bomb threat that somebody called in. But that was the first night we stayed in Litchfield. And of course, we eventually moved there. And that's where I went to high school, but it should have been an omen of sorts of what to expect. Just pretty wild stuff. What kind of fire alarm story have you in your memories? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Yeah, I remember when I lived in San Diego, there in California, a long time ago, like 10, 15 years ago. My Uncle Kurt was a fire chief, and my other Uncle Andy, they used to have to deal with this arson. And I learned that you've got to touch doors and don't open because of backdrafts.
I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew there was going to be some kind of backdraft reference. What a great movie that was, by the way.
It was.
Good stuff. All right, man. I appreciate it. A backdraft reference. Come on. All right. Appreciate everybody chiming in on that. It's always good to have some fun, especially with all the news of the day.